Hi, welcome to Film Files. My name is Sid, and today I wanted to talk to you about Dungeons and Dragons. If I could sum up this movie in one word, it would be that it fits. Everything about this movie is well crafted and it completely fits in like a puzzle box. The characters really fit well with each other. They work as a team, each character serves a role, and the performances are just right. And it feels like every actor understood what this film was going for, that it was an action comedy, and it was pulled back on the dramatic elements. And when it did deliver on the dramatic elements, it really worked. The writing was succinct, clean, understandable, and very effective. The emotional setup in the beginning of the film with Michelle Rodriguez's character and Chloe Coleman's character were done really well. And it pays off at the end where you have the final wish going to Michelle Rodriguez instead of bringing back the mother, because Michelle Rodriguez kind of plays the mother figure or serves as the mother figure for this girl. And it was done really well. And I did see that coming. The second I saw Michelle Rodriguez hurt, I knew they were going to use the wish on her, but it made sense that they would do that instead of introducing a completely unknown character at the end of the film. Everything this film did worked for me. You could tell that the writers, producers, directors really cared about making a fun, entertaining, wholesome film for the entire family, and they were really able to achieve that. I personally felt like this is what Hollywood can do at its best, serving a variety of audiences. You have a bunch of jokes delivered by various different characters, all of which worked and all of which were within that character's framework. Hugh Grant had a lot of the scripted jokes, and he really pulls it off. I think his revival as a bad guy in films is really working for him. Chris Pine carried this film really well. He plays the bard, and he plays the emotional connection of the film, but also plays off the jokes. So he was able to serve both roles, and he did it really well. The director really understood the story and paced the story to serve the characters. And it kind of reminded me of The Count of Monte Cristo, where you have the main protagonist who has been betrayed, who has to go to jail, has to break out of jail, come back and take revenge in an elaborate manner. And that is similar to the structure of this film. And I thought that the structure really worked well. The quests they had the characters go on really fit well into the narrative. Usually that's the issue I have with these big Hollywood films like the Fast and the Furious movies, where they just travel the entire world for apparently no reason other than to show us as an audience that they filmed in all these locations. But this film didn't do that. It did have the characters go on these journeys. For example, there's a scene where they have to steal something and they get accosted by a dragon, which was done quite well. And there was another scene where they have to perform a heist, but instead of stealing something, they have to put something back. And that was extremely creative, and for me, that was the highlight of this movie. The visual effects in this film were not the best that I've seen, but this film proves that you don't need the best visual effects as long as your story and your characters are effective, because in the end, that is what we watch and that is what we connect with. As opposed to Avatar, where you see these amazing worlds and amazing visual effects, and you have these long, drawn-out action sequences that at some point become boring because the stakes are not definable when you have action at that scale. But when you do action the way this movie did it, where you have 4 characters, they do have to end up saving an entire city and as an extension the entire world, but that's not portrayed as such. It's portrayed through their eyes, and they are pretty selfish in the sense that they come in only to serve themselves. Until the very end, the characters are only serving themselves, and that really works. It's just that the narrative lined up the characters with the overarching storyline and the stakes, and they merged it into one, and they did an amazing job taking it forward that way. So in that way, I think this film is significantly better than Avatar. Even though they fall under a similar genre, I would give this film maybe 4 out of 5 just for its genre and because it knew what it was doing. I would recommend this film for anyone who enjoys the fantasy genre, or anyone who just wants to see a fun film that, you know, will give you 2 hours of pastime, but you can forget about it later and it would have brightened your day but not really impacted you all that much. And they knew that that's what they were going for, and they did an amazing job of doing that. Guys, do you want to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe buttons right there? I'm sure you can find it. Can you find it? Cool, thank you.